Okay. Welcome back to Podcast Progressive with me, Evan, and Shifa.
Hello.
And welcome to our first ever episodes in English. I hope that
Woohoo.
I hope that
Woo!
you guys can enjoy it as much as if we do it in Indonesian as well. Why
Yes.
we do it in English? Because I have two beloved friends here as a guest. A little bit of backstory. I met them in Egypt when I was attending the World Youth Forum there in December, and yeah, it's nice to have them, to know them, and since they are currently living in the place where the most cases in coronavirus in the world happening more than any other countries in the world. So it's just interesting to really know how's the condition there and what's their opinion about the outbreak that's ongoing right now. And the first is actually also a YouTuber, or I don't know, a broadcaster, or an Instagram influencer,
Oh
Mr.
no, no,
Karim.
just a simple guy.
Oh, are you? I didn't know.
Yes, yes, yes. Hi, Karim, how are you?
Hey, buddy, how are you, man? Evan, it's so nice to see you. Like Evan said, it's like a little bit of a reunion.
Yeah,
Isn't it interesting that we met in Egypt at the World Youth Forum discussing
yes,
global sustainability goals, and now we're worried about our planet with this
yes,
virus.
exactly. What we discussed about the sustainable development goals is just thrown out the bin, and then we are now
Mhm.
barely living from one day to another.
Uh,
And the second one is um what do you call a
Rana.
pharmacist? Are you a pharmacist now
I
already?
am a pharmacist. I'm getting licensed soon. I'm an intern as for now.
Okay, and she's Rana. Hi, Rana.
Hi, Evan. How are you?
I'm great, and I hope you're great too.
I'm trying.
Rana's an essential worker, so she sees coronavirus patients all the time.
Yeah, yeah, that's why.
Oh, really?
Maybe we should
Yeah.
head to Rana first. What's actually you are doing? Where do you work right now? And where exactly do you live? How's your daily activities right now in NYC?
Well, my daily activities are every day waking up 7 a.m., going to the pharmacy. I work in a pharmacy in Brooklyn, um, where like it's the most cases in New York are located in
Hmm.
Brooklyn actually. Coming back 8 o'clock. It's my daily routine is just going to work and coming back. We barely have time to do anything else. Everything is just trying to actually get any medication to be available for like the patients. We don't have anything. Everything is on back order. Everything is like short insulins, inhalers. That's my daily fight to
Hmm.
try to
Hmm.
get those to be
Mm.
available.
You mentioned earlier to me that the pharmacy that you are working, um, the location is actually really near to a hospital that's actually you know, uh, treating a lot of coronavirus patients.
Yes, yes. It's right across the street from a huge hospital where
Mm.
there's just like ambulances every minute actually with
Oh,
severe
wow.
cases.
So you hear like the siren of ambulance like when you're
Yeah.
working, and wow,
Yeah, you
nice.
feel like you're in a war zone actually. It's not New York anymore.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. And Karim, how about you? How's your life now in the quarantine or in the situation?
So I actually work maybe down the block from Rana, actually at the pharmacy. So my school is over there, but we've been out of school since March now. And I've been home teaching from home. So I wake up 8 a.m., put up my assignments for my students. By 12, I'm done. I have to go make myself something to eat, maybe walk the dog. Before I walk out of the house, I gotta put mask on. I gotta put gloves on. Lysol everything. When I come back in, I gotta Lysol everything again. And the clothes that I leave the house with, I leave them hanging by the door. They don't come into the house with me.
Okay.
Um, so you gotta be very, very cautious. Come inside, wash my hands right away. It's hard to breathe with the mask, and unfortunately, you have to reuse the mask because there's a shortage. So every time I come home, I gotta spray Lysol or some sort of disinfectant on the mask itself. Um, and then actually, I've been chefing it up in the kitchen. So I've been spending most of the time in the kitchen, just cooking a ton of meals.
Yeah, you should put it in your Instagram though, or maybe
I
make a
will.
new
I will.
Instagram account.
Actually, this is what I'm working on during quarantine. It's a
Wow.
chance for me to be creative.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But
I wish I could offer
how's
you some of the cookies, but I can't send them over.
how's New York in general? Because like I've never been to New York, but I know New York from like movies, series. And how is it different from normal life?
Rana, I'll let you go first.
Okay, my favorite quote is by Trevor Noah when he said that New York is turning from the city that never sleeps to the city that
Mm.
lays awake at night dreading existential crisis. This is my favorite. Like this is just sums it all up.
Mm.
That's what I think New York has gone to be honest.
And I live in an area decently populated. I mean, same as Rana. I mean, this is New York City, right? But I don't go a day before the quarantine without hearing the honking of a horn, or someone yelling, or some commotion in the street. Actually, just recently, I was able to. So a bunch of teachers in my school wanted to send some cheer to our students. So we made a video of us dancing, and I edited it and put it all
Wow.
together to send it to the students.
Yeah.
And so I was able to record this in the middle of the street, which is a 6-lane highway, because there was no
Wow.
car.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I do live in a heavily populated Jewish neighborhood, so it's also Passover. So happy Passover to all the Jews. But that's why it's been pretty empty before. But even with
Mm.
Passover, it's like a complete ghost town.
Oh.
But
Oh.
unfortunately, you know how we New Yorkers have a reputation of being rude or
Yeah.
loud or whatnot. Certain areas in New York, you drive by. I took a drive down to Upper Manhattan, and people were acting like nothing was going on, and they were still out gathering in the streets. There was parties going
Yeah.
on, extremely
Serious?
Crazy.
dangerous and unsafe
Wow.
habits. And this is just New York, you know what I mean? Like people don't give.
Don't give an F.
Exactly. I don't know how this rating is for the podcast, so I didn't want
Yeah.
to say.
What is it actually the most the major industries in NYC? Maybe it's not an industrial state. It's not. What is it? Why so many people drive to New York every day? Like why there are so many um,
New
cars
York
in the
is
road?
the hub of opportunity. You know, people come from Jersey, from Connecticut, from all over to work in New York, and there's a lot of New Yorkers here, and there were tourists here before this pandemic happened that needed to get out of the country. So, I mean, I think that goes to why New York was inevitably going to be a hub for the virus. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Mm. That's true.
Yeah. That's actually the question as well. Rana, maybe um, which criteria or which characteristic of NYC do you think that is it's a perfect criteria that for the coronavirus to spread like rapidly like now?
Actually, I think it's mainly the population density and the reliance on public transportation. Like we have a huge reliance on that. Everyone is in the like trains and buses and all that. That was mainly the main reason why it spread here. There was actually a professor. I can't remember. I think his name was Benjamin Cowling. He's a professor of infectious disease epidemiology in Hong Kong. He
Mm.
said that he thinks that this all started like mid-January, like that the cases, it's just like undetected. It started all over like mid-January. That's why the very quick rise happened of
Yeah.
cases. So I agree with that, to be honest, because of all the tourists, like Karim said, like all the tourists are coming over and all that. So
Actually, after the World Youth Forum, Evan, when we got back to the States, a week later, I fell ill for 5 days. I had
Oh wow.
symptoms of the corona. I could not lift a finger. I had a cough, sore
oh
throat,
yeah.
fever, and the doctor that I went to told me I have an upper respiratory infection coupled with a bad strain of the flu and something else. And it just didn't make sense to me. And after coronavirus was discovered and found out about, I was like, wait a minute, did I have the virus? So I'm glad I
Very
beat it if I did
likely.
have it.
Wow. So maybe you were
Yeah.
one of the first people who bring virus to the New York City.
Maybe.
Patient zero.
Patient zero.
But how does it affect your I want to say like former life, but it wasn't like your daily life. Like for you, maybe Karim, you are a teacher, right?
Yes.
Since when are schools were shut down, and how are you doing
Unfortunately, they
the
weren't
teaching
shut
now?
down early enough. Sometime in March, I believe it was mid-March. Can't really remember the date. I can find that out for you, but we weren't shut down soon enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, this is probably what caused the virus to spread even more. And actually, we just lost one of our beloved staff members to the virus,
Oh, no.
and it's unfortunate.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad. Yeah.
And what about you, Rana?
I am not very sure when were schools shut down, but I definitely agree they were not shut down like early enough, like at all. Nothing, no measures, no drastic measures were taken like seriously. Like Evan was telling me that there's like a huge fine for people who are found in Germany like doing nothing in the streets. Here it's not like that. That's not.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me how New Jersey, which is a neighboring state, has a curfew, but I haven't heard of one here in New York City.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This
Even after
curfew,
the
Shiva.
Go ahead. It's okay.
No, I mean this curfew in New Jersey, is it like a really strict curfew that people are gonna be controlled or on the street, or is it like how is it like? Do you know?
I don't think it's that strict, honestly, but it's still a curfew nonetheless. I mean, if you have 30% of the population listen to the curfew, that's great. But if you have New Yorkers out in the street, I mean, in my neighborhood, it's very quiet. But you go to parts of Manhattan and different parts of Brooklyn where I live, people just don't listen. And actually, the neighborhood where Rana works, people do not listen. And that's why there's a big spread of the virus in that area called Bay Ridge in Brooklyn.
Yeah. So the question is that actually, what has the government done to suppress the outbreak of the virus? It seems to me that it's actually nothing's done for the virus. It's just purely denial. Is it that bad? Is there any lockdown? Is there any quarantine in place? Is there any mass testing facilities is being erected around New York? How bad is it? Or who first? Rana first, maybe?
Rana, you're out more than I am now. So do you see people wearing masks all the time, wearing gloves, taking the necessary precautions? Because up until today, our governor, which has been doing a really good job trying to fight it, and people are saying he should be the next president, Cuomo. I think today he said that he's going to pass something that says that people need to leave the house with masks. They cannot be out.
They're making mandatory. But still, like, okay, they have to leave the house with masks, but masks are not even available. I have a pharmacy. We're like the staff is more than 5-6 people. We only have 2 boxes of masks available for us. That's all we have. We're reusing them, which is unsanitary and shouldn't be happening. And it's not like, you can't say that it's mandatory to wear a mask, but it's not even available.
Rana, do you still have people walking into the pharmacy asking for things that are not essential?
Yes, I have people. I was just telling Evan, I have people coming in the pharmacy asking for a notary public.
A what?
Yes, a notarization to get something notarized.
Oh,
they're still asking for that. They're coming in asking for makeup, and they're coming in asking for a lot of unnecessary things. And I talked to them about, please, staying at home. You're putting yourself and you're putting us at risk. We're risking our lives for you, but you just don't care.
Yeah.
And they just walk out without like listening.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
I mean, has the governor, the quote unquote the good governor, hasn't he stressed that enough that please go out only for essentials, or are people really that stubborn?
It's New York
Yeah.
City, and people do not listen.
But like, why do you think that they don't care? Don't say because they're New Yorkers.
It's not.
That's the real answer. You think I'm joking? That is the real answer. New Yorkers, they don't care. I'm a New Yorker. I mean, I go out every day, and I buy groceries every day. But I take my necessary precautions. But do people stand 6 feet away from me? No, and I yell at them when they don't.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like they don't have like fear for their lives, or they just don't trust the government?
I don't think it's that they don't have fear for their lives. It might be a lack of trust in the government. It also might be a language barrier because a lot of the communities I visit to like do my shopping would be like immigrant communities, and in these immigrant communities, people are just not in the know sometimes, and so sometimes they don't take the necessary precautions because back home everyone's stuck in a subway car like sardines. So like it must be normal.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
Um. Has any of you do any of you know like are there any emergency hospitals that being repurposed, like we have some news, for example, in some countries that empty places are being repurposed to be an emergency hospital. And I've seen the US Navy's ship, the Comfort ship, harbored at New York City, but I don't think that's enough for the outbreak.
Well, they do. They have been preparing and taking many measures actually for that, and a lot of temporary hospitals have been set. But the problem is with all those temporary hospitals, there's already been like many reports about shortages of like critical supplies, ventilators, masks, personal
Yeah.
protective equipment, all that. It's still there. So yeah.
So I know that the Jacob Javits Center, which is where the auto show, I believe, happens in New York City, and many things happen in New York City, has been turned into a hospital. I believe they have, I don't know exactly how many numbers of beds, but they'll operate for 24 hours, and they're going to start taking COVID I think they might have already. I'm not sure. Rana, do you have information about the Javits Center?
How many beds there are?
Well, they have 2,500 beds.
Yeah.
But do you know if they started taking patients already?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I've also seen the news reel about the New York governors complaining about the eBay for ventilators, that the states have to bid against each other to buy or to get ventilators. How is it? How's the current condition now?
There is a very big shortage on the ventilators, a huge shortage actually, and they're taking measures right now. They're taking really drastic decisions where who gets to be on a ventilator and who's not. My friend, her sister, she has Down syndrome, and the hospital told her if she's gonna need a ventilator, like she's not gonna be put on one because they're gonna have to take that decision to put a healthy person on it, but not a person with Down syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds to me to the Nazi era again. Where people decide people who deserve to live and which not deserve to live. It's crazy.
It is. It's really sad and depressing, like living this era just this time.
And how about the uninsured people? Do they get the treatment for free, or how is it like in the USA? Maybe Karim.
That's an interesting question. I think it all depends, but during the pandemic, I'm not really sure how they're handling the coronavirus patients. I can't imagine that they're going to let someone that they can treat walk away. I don't want to imagine. I don't want to imagine it, but I don't know.
So basically, there are no guarantee from the government from now. Okay, if you get coronavirus and you are severely ill, even though you don't have insurance, you can be taken care of. So there's no kind of guarantee whatsoever.
Not that I know of.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I know, right?
I know.
Yeah, the bills for the coronavirus patients that are uninsured cost them a lot of money.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What are the economical aids provided by the government to protect the citizens? Maybe you guys have some ideas on that.
Ronald, did you get your check?
Yes, I did.
And what do you
Thank
think?
God.
Like, is it enough? Do you think that's good?
No, most people got checks yesterday. And it was calculated in a certain way. I believe if you made less than 75,000, you got $1,200 in the month. Which $1,200 doesn't really. I mean, great, you're helping, but it doesn't cover me for the month. If I've lost my job and I don't have money to feed my myself or my kids or whoever. I know it's more for families. So if you're filing jointly, it's $2,500 if you make under a certain amount. But rent in New York on its own, $1,200 hasn't been heard of in a really long time. So like I don't know how they calculated that number. And some people are saying that nothing in America is free, and that money might have to be paid back in your taxes somehow when you file here.
Oh
But
my
no one
God, no
really has,
way.
exactly. But no
Yeah,
one
it's
really
gonna be
has a
deducted from
solid
next
answer
year.
about it. Like financial people, my friends in finance say that you will be taxed on it, and others say that we don't know. It's very unclear. I'm hoping we're not. But the most important thing is that Donald Trump signed his name on the checks.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. I think he wouldn't send them out unless he signed his name on the check. And guess what, guys? If he gets reelected, that's why he got reelected.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Crazy.
how do you think are like people spending the 1,200,000 checks? Like, are they
I know
spending it for?
some people that haven't lost their jobs are buying electric scooters and drones. And some people, I'm not joking. I've literally gotten a message about that yesterday. I'm not joking. And some people that lost their jobs are using the check to try to make ends meet. The problem is credit card companies and your landlords and whoever might be giving you a chance to break up your payments so that you don't fall back, because having a high credit score in New York, in America in general, is very important. If you want to buy a house, if you want to buy a car, anything, if you want to get a loan, you need a good credit score, right? And so if you fall back on your payments, that ruins your credit score. So they're giving an opportunity for you to postpone payments, but I feel like that's going to screw a lot of people over in the future when they have to just pay all this lump sum at once. At some point down the line, when things go back to normal and credit card companies and rent companies are saying, "Well, you know what? We want our money now. Pay up." I don't have the money. I lost my job. What am I supposed to do?
So this postponement is actually merely an initiative from the credit card institution.
Yes,
No,
the only
it's not.
initiative that was government based was on student loans. I believe they stopped interest on student loans.
Oh, what? Only stop the interest for student loan.
Stop the interest, and you don't have to pay back anything right now for
Okay.
60 days, I believe it is, until they figure it out again. And they keep updating us every 2 weeks. I think New York City still closed until May 15th, according to the governor, and I think it'll just keep going. I don't suspect that it will end anytime soon. I'm not a scientist, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here in Germany, they told us like in the mid of March, I think. Okay, we will shut everything down for 2 weeks, and then a week after, okay, another 2 weeks. Okay, another 2 weeks, and then now the latest official announcement is until the 3rd of May, which may also will be extended as well. But yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, they're expecting it to go all the way to November.
Yes.
I don't think they can announce such a long shutdown. They have to keep us on our toes every 2 weeks, or else I think that people might actually do things that are not so.
Go
it'll
crazy.
be like the purge.
Yes, true. I mean, when the government announced that, okay, we will shut it down for 2 weeks, people go crazy, panic buying, buy every stuff that they previously never needed, and then
previously never needed, exactly, like
exactly.
You know what's funny? Around the time of the toilet paper crisis, I introduced all my followers on social media to the bidet, which is standard in most Middle Eastern countries.
Yes, yes,
Like,
I
wash
know.
your butt with water, man.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 weeks later on Amazon, all bidets went up in price by
Oh,
$40, and then now they're sold out.
seriously?
I swear.
Oh my god.
Like,
But you know
Crazy.
what's even more crazy than lines at the supermarket? I have a friend in the South, and he told me that the lines at stores to buy guns was longer than the lines at the supermarket.
Oh yes.
no
Yes, I heard.
way.
I heard. Yeah.
And he just moved down south. So if you're the only loser without a gun in a world with people with guns, you're gonna be in trouble.
It's
So
it's the purge.
yeah,
The
he ended up
purge.
buying a gun to protect himself.
With the toilet paper, I also didn't get it because like back in Indonesia we have bidet as well.
Yeah.
So when people like panic buying pasta, eggs, flour, I was like, okay, I get it. That's like what you eat. But
Yeah.
toilet paper, like I was like, what do you need it for?
It's funny because when I had people over before coronavirus, I had a few friends over, and I wouldn't tell people the bidet exists. I don't explain it. They just go use the bathroom, and sometimes their leg hits the lever, and I hear from the bathroom, "What happened?" I'm like, "Are you okay?" Feels clean, right?
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the list of the questions. From private companies, is there any common initiatives? I don't know, something
Yeah.
related to corporate social responsibilities, something that you may know?
Some campaign or some
Yeah,
publicity stunt at least. Or, I don't know.
yeah,
What is
Oh,
it?
this is an excellent publicity stunt for everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Maybe Karim and then Rana.
Education. Every educational website has turned into a free,
Oh,
helpful, supportive website, which is great. Like, our kids need it,
yeah.
our students need it. So anything that you previously had to pay a subscription for and a heavy subscription for is now free for the most part. So it makes remote
Oh.
teaching a lot easier for us. But because we haven't had these tools in the past, anyone that's less tech savvy is like,
Yes.
what is going on? I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I have to check a million things.
Yeah.
But people that are more tech savvy are having a really good time and having fun with it.
Yeah. True. And
Yeah.
Rana maybe.
We had a yeah.
Oh yeah. What is it, Shiva?
No, I
What
was
is
just saying like we had a podcast about this like last week, I think, with our friend that is who is a professor back in Indonesia, and he told us that the older ones, like the older professors, they just couldn't.
Yep.
They have
Yeah.
no idea how even only a video call works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's terrible.
Yeah, they do classes via WhatsApp.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but
Wow.
maybe they just type everything and expect every students to read and just ask, okay, do you have any questions? No, okay, class finished, dismiss. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
I mean, if you can put me in touch with these institutions, I can train them and consult for a fee.
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's all I know about education wise. I know that at the pharmacies are doing things for the community too, right, Rana?
Yeah, well, for now, what we're doing is we're waiving off any copay that the patient has to like pay for this month. Like, we're taking that hit on us. Like, we're paying for, like, we're just waiving their copays. We're trying to like for example, that medication, Plaquenil, they found out that it's like working against COVID. So the prices went up from $10 a bottle to $300 a bottle. And
Wow.
of course, insurance companies are not paying for that. So we're trying to just have it in stock and give it to them at the regular price that we used to get it in. But like, that's mostly what we can do because I'm not in a chain pharmacy. Like, my pharmacy is just the private. So that's the most we can do for now. We're trying like to have the sanitizers, alcohol, the masks available. We're not getting any profit on that. We're just like selling it for what we're getting it for.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're trying to do.
And is there any maybe initiatives from the community? Because here in Germany, for example, in Munich, people are like, some people made a website which they sell, how do you say Gutschein? Vouchers?
Vouchers.
Okay.
so that even though the restaurants are closed, they can still, like, people can still buy vouchers from them, so
Wow.
that they still get some income, you know, just like from the community, for the community, to the community, like that
Oh,
kind
that's
of
really
stuff.
nice.
And
Oh,
in Indonesia, we have like, people did a lot of donations to buy
Mask,
equipments like masks,
equipment.
hand sanitizers, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Is there
yeah, actually,
anything similar?
we have I have like 2, 3 people came in just giving us masks, handmade masks that they're making at home, and
Mhm.
they're giving them to us for free to keep for the staff and to give out to people who are actually in need of them. I have one other person. She recently contacted me that she's doing the personal protective equipments, like for the doctors. She's giving them out to hospitals for free on her. Like she's not charging for them. Yeah. So yeah, we have some people, like the good people are is kind of showing right now. So that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
there's actually a mosque that I really love to go to here that is giving out food almost every other day. They're taking donations, preparing meals, and handing food out to the homeless, and even handing food out to healthcare workers. So they're going to hospitals and
Yeah.
providing meals for them.
Oh.
And then there are other people that are just donating money through their network to essential workers like healthcare workers at hospitals and stuff, so that they can get the necessary tools that they need to continue working. And it's really cool. At 7 o'clock every day, we go out the window, we clap, and we hit pots and pans, and we celebrate for the, or
Oh,
we try to say thank you to the healthcare workers in New York City. So it's a really nice sight to see.
that's
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's what you actually want to hear from
Yeah,
a real
that's never
community.
gonna happen in Germany, though.
So guys, I've once heard a saying that many Americans are actually a medical bill away from poverty. Um, do you agree with that? And does it show for you that does it reflect the inequality in the USA? How the income equality, how the gap is in the society?
Yes,
Maybe
yes,
Rana
yes.
first.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with the statement. I mean, many Americans today, they just don't have money saved up at all. Like for emergency, I mean, like a large amount of them, they're living paycheck to paycheck, or
Hmm.
they're dealing with student loans and they're just crippling on debt. Um, Combine that actually with many Americans who are uninsured. They don't have any complete coverage for every emergency or any emergency at all. And yeah, they actually are just one accident away from being trapped in an unending cycle of poverty.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
How about you, Karim?
Yeah,
How do you see that
I have
statement?
to agree with it, and I'm fortunate enough uh, to not be in that bracket because of like my job. You know, having a city job or a federal job, your insurance is taken care
Yeah.
of. You have a good insurance plan, but a lot of Americans um, don't have that opportunity, and
Mm.
so they do. They are definitely a medical bill away from poverty.
Yeah.
And medical bills are ridiculous. Insurance companies and the way they work and how they lobby and all that stuff is not uh, it's
Yeah.
not American if we want to talk about it that way.
Uh,
Which is why
yeah. I
Bernie
mean,
Sanders was the dream, but not
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I mean, me myself watched a lot of social docu series about USA and how you guys perfectly portrayed how the system is actually rigged and also how the system is actually unfair. And there's actually like a video that I want to highlight. That there's a video that a bunch of Hollywood actors singing "Imagine," led by Gal Gadot, I think. And it backfires so harsh that people really, dislike it and rage them. Like, what do you know about the the suffering that they are going through? How is it actually? How's the class conflict there in the USA in general? How do you see that?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen on Instagram all the celebrities telling us how we should stay home, and then they
Yeah.
turn around and they have an entire gym and a tennis court and a basketball court
Yeah.
in their backyard.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
your
that's
staying home is different than my staying home, buddy.
yeah. Your home is as big as my entire block. Like
Exactly.
And I heard that Heidi Klum, like she said that she couldn't get tested for coronavirus. Then she tweeted it or she put it on Instagram. But then after 2 days after she posted it, she got the access because she's Heidi Klum.
Of course. Yeah,
course.
of course. I mean,
It's crazy.
not just Heidi Klum. If you're a New Yorker, you're gonna get access. This is what happened to one of my friends. He felt very ill, and he went to urgent care, and he had all the symptoms. And they sat him in the bed. They said, "You got to pay $100." He paid $100, and they were saying that he can go home. He said, "No, I'm not going anywhere until you test me." And he's very New York, okay, like accent and everything.
yeah.
And they told him, "Sorry, sir, we can't test you." And so he said to them, "I'm not leaving this chair until you test me." And they tested him.
Okay.
They
How?
tested him,
Why?
and it turns out him and his wife had corona,
Oh wow.
and they
And
have a
Rana.
baby at home. So it's
Oh.
important for them to know.
Mhm.
So does he or she both the pair do they treated in the hospital or
No, the thing is, they actually left completely and went home, and they didn't find out the results till 2 days later. So now
Oh.
they're self-quarantining at home for 14 days. But this is not the only case that I've seen. I mean, remember how I was telling you that the Department of Education, the New York City Department of Education, didn't close down schools early enough?
yes
A
yes
friend of mine, his wife is a teacher, and she is pregnant. And because they didn't close down schools soon enough, and because we had to return to school for 3 days to learn remote learning, she ended up contracting the virus. And she was the first teacher to be pregnant and have the virus in the Department of Education. There's actually an
wow
article in the Washington Post, I believe, or the Huffington
Crazy.
Post about her.
Oh
Wow,
my
crazy.
god.
um
What?
Chief
You want to say something?
no Chief, go ahead.
This happens a lot during this online thingy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I just want to ask, like, what is it that you think that the government should have or could have done better with like coping and anticipating this pandemic? Because to be honest, like I think USA had time, like
Advantage.
you
Yeah.
guys, right?
Yeah.
We had
did.
examples
did.
before us that we should have
Yeah.
looked at and said, "Hey, listen, Italy's screwed. We need to do something. Spain
Yeah.
is screwed. China's screwed. We need to do
Mhm.
something." But I don't think they took the right precautions. I think that they underestimated it. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of the people that underestimated it too.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I really
Me
did.
too.
I did. Yeah. Unfortunately.
But what is it, Rana? For example, one concrete thing that's very easy to be done, but not yet been done until today, in your opinion.
What? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What one thing that's actually very easy to be done by the government, but is not
For
done yet
the
until now. Yeah, to cope with the situation and stuff. Yeah, right now, not in terms of prevention, but in coping with the situation right now.
in coping with the situation right now, I think they just have to, I guess, be more strict with any like fine or anything that they're gonna, I guess, implement. Um, I haven't really, I don't know.
I think that
She's tired.
just to piggyback off of what Rana is saying, yeah, they should. But are you asking a question about prevention strategies or?
No, the one that's actually had to be done right now and responding to the emergency to the outbreak right now.
Do you mean like a national lockdown?
Yeah, maybe.
I think I wouldn't call it easy because you said something that is easy. I don't know if a national lockdown would be easy, but a national lockdown I think would be necessary to contain the virus as much as possible. Although we are seeing declines in hospital cases, but is that really true? I wonder, because are people just not going to the hospital because they know they're not going to be tested, like my friend?
They are.
or
Yeah,
are
and
there
yeah.
actually less cases? What's the deal?
Mm. Hmm.
So I think a national lockdown is important. I think that there has to be fines, just like other countries where it's not even as bad as it is here, and they have fines for people that are out of the house after 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever. Um, so yeah, those are precautions that I think the government should have already taken. If you want to get even deeper, the reason that they didn't shut down schools, which is a big problem in New York City, is because, well, they phrased it as there are a lot of students that are going to be without food and that we're going to be without shelter during
Yeah.
this time. So we need to keep schools open to provide them with a warm meal. Okay, hold up a second. Did you guys just realize this now? Because this problem should have been dealt with already in a first world country. There's no
Yeah.
reason we should continue the spread of the virus just to feed some children when this problem is a
True.
problem that should have been dealt with in the past. So now, like, everything is just coming together, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm speaking with my hands, but
Yeah.
yeah, it
Is it?
doesn't make sense. I felt like it was just an excuse because they didn't know what to do. I think that they were using the children, which are a beacon of hope in most situations, in movies,
Yeah.
and in everything, as a wall to shelter
Yeah.
them from being attacked for their decision making process.
Mm.
So
All they cared is that, like, they're just like really worried about like the economic output and all that. That's why they
Mhm.
didn't really do anything,
Um,
unfortunately.
that you mentioned about economics, and we've seen that the president of the United States is really, back, like, well, it's allegedly, but we know that it's actually backed up with major players in major industries. And do you think that the USA really lack of leadership in coping with the US, with the situation in the USA? Because, well, are you ashamed of your president? Because he's now
I'm happy not to be
every
living in a communist country, because with that question, I can get in trouble.
Be
well,
careful.
luckily we are living in a very democratic country.
Quote
Democratic.
unquote.
I mean, well, it's not something that
I
that
mean, I call him
nobody
45.
knows that Trump is now, well, not now, like since he was the president, it's an object of mockery around the world. So
Of
how do you
course.
guys feel about that?
I still call him 45.
Was it?
That's his name to me, 45.
Why is it?
Why?
Why
That's
was
his,
it?
he's the 45th president.
Oh.
He doesn't
Ah,
He
name
doesn't get a
him. It's just
name,
like a
he doesn't get
number.
a minister. He's just 45.
Like
the
an
you know
inmate
who.
in the prison and stuff.
I mean, yeah, he has neglected many warnings and he never acted like to do anything to stop the virus, and he just like downplayed how serious it was.
Yeah.
And
he
he
he cut
ignored his
funding.
own health experts and just like acting like everyone would blame him if the virus reached the United States, so he just pretended everything was okay. But instead, they were blaming him for not taking it seriously, which is just like stupid
Hmm.
on his end.
What did you want to
So
say, Karim?
I was saying that I believe Trump, before, like when the pandemic was just getting started, I think he cut funding to the CDC at the time,
Yeah.
or was it? Yeah, and then now he cut funding to who?
Yeah. To the WHO as well.
Yep, exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, he's 45.
Yeah. Let's not mention the name.
Would you say that 45 is the one to blame for this chaos?
You mean in America or in the world?
I think in
In
America.
America.
Or, yeah.
At this point, I'm beyond blaming anyone. Although I think he played a major role. I think at this point I want to focus more on getting our lives back, no matter how we do it. I don't care even if he
Yeah.
is a part of it. Just as long as he does something, because just, you know what, if he does something right, I will say, okay, 45 did something right. But
Okay.
that's all I care about.
I can't with this.
I don't care about anything. Pointing fingers doesn't solve anything for me. What
Yeah.
seems to be getting things back to normal and making sure people are healthy and safe and not having to worry about going to see my parents. I haven't seen my parents in quite a while, even though they live
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes from me. And it's quite sad, you know, hearing people every day dying and people that you
Yeah.
know. And
It's
it's just hospitals are renting refrigerated trucks because they don't
yeah, I
have
saw.
places for the bodies in the ground.
Yeah,
It's terrible. And then
I saw.
you have different communities responding in different ways, and I don't think it's just him to blame, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the head is rotten, everything else below the fruit has to be rotten too.
true. Correct.
True.
So
And how about you, Rana?
I think the same. Like, you just can't just point a finger at one person and say it's all its fault. It's been like many. Yeah, he did just ignore his experts opinions, but China as well. At first, it
Yeah,
refused to take any threat seriously at all.
true.
And just suppress anyone about speaking about a virus.
Yes.
And it just took too long to take action for China, for Italy, for like many other countries. Um, yeah, so it's just hard to point a finger at someone and say this is completely his fault.
but I'll
Yes.
definitely point a few fingers at Trump or 45. Like
Oh
Well,
my god.
the number 45 is looking to run to be the number 46 as well. This November, I think. Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you see this? How's your opinion about it? Like, because we see that it is more important, it's becoming more essential that people have a universal healthcare. Maybe it's clear for us, but maybe it's not clear for other people. But as you see, maybe presidential candidates from the Democrats always champion some kind of social security net, like to help people to get back to their feet, to prevent people to get broke just because they are sick. um does this event, does this pandemic will change the political course in the US? Will people be more leaning to social security, like universal health care, like job security, or is it just the same, Trump and make keep America great?
I think the status quo remains unchanged, and I think that with Trump's or 45's choice of words and language, which is quite important
Yeah,
in the United
true.
States, because after his election or with his election, you saw all the closet racists come out, and all the misinformed, and so he's continuing to even call this virus the Chinese virus rather than its
Yes.
actual name,
Yeah.
which is disgusting. But unfortunately, we've realized now how many closet racists there are in America that are okay with such a thing. And the way he's handling the virus is just along. It's how they perceive him as great, and he's doing a great job, and he's protecting us. And so I don't think Biden is a strong candidate against 45, unfortunately. So I do think we're in for 4 more years of Trump, especially if he gets us out of this mess before November. Because if he does, then he saved the United States of America from a mess.
You save.
Saved.
Okay.
And Biden won't have a standing chance. I don't think Biden has a chance now. I think Bernie had a better chance, but
Yeah, it's that's true.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rana?
I think it would change, to be honest. I hope it would change because neither of any of the presidential candidates at this moment is supporting universal basic income or universal health care, which I think is the most important thing to be supported right now. And
Yeah.
I believe after this like coronavirus situation, like many people in the United States should realize how necessary some of these protections are.
Yeah.
To be honest, like example, in Spain, they already did begin to implement universal basic income to help out their population, and I believe this like massive influx of patients who don't have any adequate coverage in the United States, this would most likely leave many people thinking this could have been a lot easier.
Yes.
So hopefully this would change all this, and 45 would not become 46, hopefully. Yeah.
46. So we're coming to an end, I think. I want to ask you guys, what do you think should be our takeaway from this situation, catastrophe? Anything you want to call it.
I think the main takeaway from this is that our healthcare systems are very fragile. Very. The pandemic immediately overwhelmed many nations' healthcare systems, and we realized that our national stockpiles for emergencies are pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely horrible. And but mainly, hopefully, in the future, we might get pandemics. I mean, sorry. I mean, in the future, we might get more pandemics,
Yeah.
and they could be
Maybe.
more
Yeah.
infectious, and they could be more deadly, and
Yeah.
they could be
Mhm.
both. And if we had this level of preparedness, I don't think this would almost be completely wiped out. Like human race would be just wiped out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
With regards to a pandemic, we've been due for one on Earth for a while. It's been 100 years.
True.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been every year.
So it's all about how we get out of this one. The fear now for me is whether or not this becomes a seasonal thing that we have to deal with, like the flu. And so the takeaway is just to take it seriously from the beginning, and take all the necessary precautions for the governments to do so and for the people as a whole to do so. Of course, like Rana said, the universal healthcare is important, especially for these times that we're in now. But I think the most important thing for me, and this might sound weird, but kindness at this time is super important.
Yes, that's true. I was just
It's
and seeing people that are working together and having amazing positive changes, and just like scientists now, they're just sharing information. Like they used to hold on to information and all that, now they're sharing it to try and cure this disease. And seeing everything that's happening with people, and that other states are sending their doctors to treat those in New York. People are volunteering to feed those left without food, and everyone all that happening. And people that they're trying their best to continue to connect with each other by dancing and singing and all that, with keeping the social distance. All that is just so beautiful to see. To see people connecting like that with one another, it's different. It's something that's the positive note of this whole crisis so far.
Yeah, for me as well. I mean, I've seen that we've forgotten how to be humane. I mean, we are actually existing as a human, but we are not humane. We forgot how to help other. How we always seeking for our glory, for more and more, and we are always trying to getting attention, but we never pay attention. So that's actually what my takeaway, to people now realizing what's actually important in their life. It's not like everything that they are after for is actually easily crumbled just because of virus. Not because but it's just it's easily turned over of something. And what's your takeaway, Shiva, as the last?
Karim, you go first.
Oh,
I mean, he said already. No, he said.
Really?
No, yeah, yes.
You didn't.
He did.
I will say it again.
You did. You did. Well, I'm gonna say that I agree with everything that the three of you said, and yeah, I think Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, said that at this time the most important thing is solidarity, and I completely agree with her. Yeah.
Kindness and community is important.
Yes.
So all the things you guys said. Yeah, I wish we had more of this before the pandemic. I wish it didn't take a pandemic to get us to where we are.
True.
Yes.
It's sad that we need thousands of people dying first, million of people infected first to become
Nice to each
to
other.
help each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right, so it's almost an hour chit chatting with you guys. Thank you. It's been a big pleasure for us, for me and
Yeah.
Shifa, and it's a really fun way to catch up. Not in a oh, okay,
Okay.
Rana is back. Well, it's really happy. Oh, now she's really gone. Okay.
What happened?
Okay. Yeah. I'll wait
was-
for
it was-
Rana to be
Yeah,
back.
let's wait for her to come back. Okay.
Yeah. Rana,
Okay.
go back.
I apologize.
No problem at all. Yeah, I mean, thank you for both of you, for Karim and Rana.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you
Um,
so much for having
It's
us.
a pleasure. You and Shiva are awesome. I love talking about
Yeah.
this stuff with you guys, and I love seeing you guys.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
I hope
So-
we can meet each other like in the
I hope
future
so.
after this is all over.
it's funny.
Come
'cause
to Munich.
Me and Evan and Rana were supposed to be in Amsterdam now with
Oh yeah,
with
we forgot to mention
seven
that.
other people that we
Yeah.
met. It's really interesting. Shifa, I wish you were at the forum with us. It sounds like you would have been part of the crew.
Yeah.
We all met and we instantly just formed this bond.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
we went everywhere together.
Oh,
and we
that's
decided we were gonna
nice.
make a WhatsApp group and travel together. And it's
Yeah,
so nice that
Yeah.
Evan had us on the podcast. It's really nice.
yeah, it's
Oh, I would
crazy.
love to
It's
be a part of you guys.
I mean, it's kind of like we have made for each other.
Yes.
Oh,
You.
Hey, Evan learned some dance moves on that trip.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
it's
really?
the first time in
I've
forever
never
that
seen
I
you
dance.
dance.
No,
Yeah.
I will.
Were you drunk?
Oh,
Not
You
really.
were, right?
Not drunk. No, it's hard to get drunk in Egypt because it's all effing expensive compared to here in Germany. But I was tired. I got not enough sleep, but I got a ton of fun, and I met a lot of good friends like Ron and Karim.
thank you, buddy.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think that wrap it up our episode today. For the listeners, if you have any feedback, like do you like having podcasts in English for once in a while? Do you find my English funny, or or is it is it good
I'm
enough for
super
you?
nervous.
Yeah, me too. Actually.
You guys did awesome. You did great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just follow us on Instagram as well at podcast_progressive. DM us and invite people to learn to listen to the
Listen.
podcast. Well, mainly in Indonesian, but maybe we will do it again once in a while in English. Or shift. Okay,
Yeah,
then
let's
Thank you,
see.
Evan and
all.
Shifa. Bye.